Hello, everybody. This is Consciousness of One. This is the sixth installment, Consciousness of One, number 6. And I'm your host, Dr. Jeffrey Lawrence Weinstein, streaming from Montreal, Canada. We have a young lady here coming from Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, who I met on Facebook from a Facebook group, a Starseed Awakening Facebook group, and that's it. So I'm going to be speaking with her, and you could hear her story, and she will share with you her experiences and revelations about different things, her life, and different things that happen to her in her life. So Rachel, welcome to the show. Welcome to Consciousness of One, number 6, Rachel Martin.
Thank you.
So you were born where? Were you born in Arizona?
No, actually, my story is very, very strange. So my biological father, he was a U.S. SEAL, and at the time of my birth, him and my mother were in Florida. So I was born on a Navy base in Florida. So, but I got so many different stories as to where I was raised, which was in Augusta, Georgia. I was adopted by my great aunt and uncle from my dad's side. So, and that's where, when I say about negativity, that's where all that began. As far as having these experiences as a child and ultimately into my adulthood, I'm still the outcast. So, but yeah. So technically, I'm from Georgia, but I was born in Florida.
Okay, born in Florida, grew up in Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on moved to Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes.
Okay, and did you go to university at some point?
No. Well, I did go to an online college for a while, but I didn't finish.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and
So,
how long have you been in Phoenix?
have I been?
Yeah.
Um, when I came out here the first time, I ended up staying out here for about, I say, 12 years. And then I left for about 8. And I traveled the country with a boyfriend in a van, doing the van life and being one with the earth. And that was great. And I had a lot of beautiful pictures that I took along the way. And then we settled in Texas for the last 4 of those years. And then I moved back here last year.
Okay. Okay. And you're working. And you're working here, there in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. I'm working in Phoenix, yes.
Yeah. Do you work from home?
No, I wish I did. I work at a grocery store chain,
Okay.
Arizona-based company. Actually, it's not all over the country. It's just from Arizona.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just a state business.
Hmm.
Okay. That you're working there in customer service.
Yeah, you can call it customer service. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working my way up. It's going quite well for me there.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Now I take it you were born with special gifts, and you had very special gifts as growing up as a child, and you
Yes.
saw different things that most other people didn't see, and you
Yeah.
couldn't talk about because they would think that something's wrong with you, and they would take
Yep.
you to a doctor like there was something like
Yep.
really medically wrong with you when there
Yep.
wasn't, and so you
Yep.
just had a very high intuitive inclinations
Hmm.
and things, unlike most other children that you went to school with and grew up with later on, and things that just, of course, you had a lot of family resistance,
Hmm.
um, because there's fear, because you
Yeah.
had to like swim through the fear and
Yep.
be real and true to yourself. Um,
Hmm.
when did you first um, realize that you had these special gifts, that you came from a different place, and the notion that you're a star seed. Yeah.
Okay, well, the beginning of it wasn't quite good. I don't know if it was because of the sensitivity I am and the abuse that I was going through and the anger that it created, that it was attracting the dark side of it. But I was having night terrors, sleep paralysis, things like that. And it got to the point where it was happening during the day. I was at home alone. We lived on private property, and I was all by myself. I was 12 at the time, like 11 or 12, and I was in the bathroom, and I was doing my hair, and I see a figure go right directly past me, and I'm like, "What the heck was that?" And I could feel it, and I could feel it, and it scared me. I got in the tub. I was like a little kid in a haunted house, and I finally got the nerve to get out of the tub. And I'm walking through the back of the house from my bathroom to the front end of the house where we had French doors, and those French doors had a blind that wasn't fully attached to the door that opened and closed. So it always banged if you opened or closed it for just a couple bangs or whatever. Well, as I'm going that direction, I hear that door. It was like a wall kind of that blocked it, so I couldn't see it, but I could hear the door, hear it open. And as I froze, I hear that door. It didn't just slam like, say, you as a man who's strong could slam the door. This was like abnormally strong. Like it was, oh my God. And it slammed it so hard that all the pictures on the wall fell. And the door that blind that I was talking about, it kept bang, bang, bang until it finally just stopped. So I go to the door, I look out, I'm like, okay, there's no one around in the flesh, but there's obviously something here. And then after that, it got to the point where it was like happening more and more, and I felt like I was going crazy. So because it was whatever this was, it was really trying to prey on my mind, and then that's how they are. That's why I tell people, don't fear, don't fear. So again, I was home alone. It's about a month later after all this was happening, and I had a Bible in my room. This was when Precious Moments was like the little figurines and things like that. That was big back in that time. And I had one of those. It was a pink Precious Moment Bible. I had it. I had a table like this, and then I had a stereo speaker right next to it. Well, I left that Bible sitting kind of tilted like this up against the wall, and the bottom of it was on the bottom of the flatness of the stereo speaker. And I'm in my room, and I feel this really strong energy, and it was good. It felt great. I could feel it like I get chills just thinking about it. And I'm in my room and I'm like going like this. I'm like, fixing my hair, and I could see in the mirror behind me that Bible sitting up like this on the speaker. And as I'm feeling that energy come down from the top of my head, I feel it. I stopped and I turned around and I'm looking, because I could feel that. So I turned back around and I'm looking in the mirror, just kind of like continuing what I'm doing. As I look in the mirror, I see that Bible go, like it went like this and it went straight up. And I said, God, if you could hear me now, please help me. I need help. I need you help so bad. I can't take this anymore. These spirits they're hurting me. They're haunting me. I'm being abused at home. Like I just can't take it. Please give me that sign. And as this was happening and I was saying that Bible went, and then it went bam, and it slammed to the floor. So I turn back and I look and I'm just like, whoa, like, oh my God. So I run out of my room, and I'm outside of my room. I'm standing in the living room outside of my room, and I'm just like, oh my God, did that just really happen? Yes, it did. I'm just like through the roof right now, and I can't believe I'm finally getting to share this with people. Like this is an amazing experience. I really appreciate you being able to let me do this. And so I'm like, okay, you want to tell yourself that it's not going to be where it was, right? So I walk back in the room and I see it still there, where I don't know if it was an angel, God, Jesus, what, but something answered and shown me that day
Yeah.
that I am heard and I am here with you. And after that, I
Mm.
started to pick up every time I had that feeling of a dark force. I'd pick up that Bible and I'd read it. And I would pray before I went to bed at night. And those demons and those dark entities, no more.
Yeah. Um, did you ever contact spirits who are that are in your ancestry um, from that like someone who could be like grandparents, great grandparents, or like um, great aunts or uncles, or great great aunts or uncles? Someone in your family is was trying to warn you. It
Yes.
feels like was trying to warn you, and it's something to do about religion and being free.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I will say that I've had experiences where I considering it's being a contact, I consider it an ancestor or maybe a spirit guide. But my first recollection of that was I was 16. I was going on a one-way street to get onto the interstate in Augusta, and there was a light, um, red light right there. Well, I had the green light, and I was in the left lane, and I hear a voice clear as day say, "Get into the right lane now." And as I went into the right lane, a car came on going at me and turned right at the opposite direction, and it would have hit me head on if I hadn't have moved. And it was like perfectly in sync. It was like, okay, move, bam, here come that car. So I'm not sure about the religion. I'm not sure about that, but I do know, and I have more than one story about that voice helping me and guiding me in a time where I could have been hurt bad or
So,
dead.
wow, that's someone like protecting you,
Mm-hmm.
a like a spirit or some kind of spirit angel,
Mm-hmm.
like protecting you,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, um, yeah, I had a similar experience. Where it was a car accident. With the train,
Oh my God.
um, and I was protected. I didn't get hurt. Like it could have been a lot worse, but I didn't get seriously hurt. I had just very minor injuries, but I didn't get seriously hurt because um, that definitely indicated to me. And by the way, this is my second awakening,
Yes.
um, and definitely indicated to me that I was there are forces, there's spirit guides, angels or spirits from beyond that
Mm-hmm.
looking out for you, protecting you, and I was protected from a very fatal accident, from a very fatal incident, and I had to go through everything I had to go through in the months preceding that, a whole year and a half preceding that, as very critical to my healing journey, and that led me into um, working with energy healing and being a teacher of this energy healing
Yes.
to
Um,
where I am now. So it was the second. It was the second awakening, because if you don't get it the first time, something else will happen, and you'll need another awakening. And
right.
it's like, okay, do you get it this time? If you don't get it that time, a third time, third awakening, it could be in the form of near-death experience. This was more along the lines of a near-death experience. It's from an accident, but I mean, they could have, it could happen to someone the third time, a very critical thing happen, and you have near-death experience and come back. So, well, do you get it this time? You know, I mean, come on, you
No,
can't be that dense, but but this really, it's crazy, but it's not crazy. There are certain people who are chosen for this kind of work, chosen to be light workers by
Yes.
light workers from beyond. And if you can imagine like a federation of light workers who are watching
Hmm.
over people, it says, okay, let's hit this one, hit that one, hit that one. So you were one of the chosen to have these experiences, and you volunteered, where your soul came in to volunteer for these experiences
Right.
and this life that you had. So it was a mutual thing. Yeah.
Well, I that's amazing that you say that because the most enlightening experience that I can give everyone here today would be um, when I was pregnant with my daughter. It was in a really bad place. It just was not all wrong. The father and I were not getting along. It was a hot mess. Anyway, so I'm pregnant with her, and I'm at the end of my pregnancy, and I'm just miserable. And it was late at night. It was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I feel that spirit. I was so broken. I was so sad, and I was just asking for help yet again for that sign and that connection. And that's when I feel that entity. I feel that spirit enter over top of my head, and it was just a tingle all the way down to my toes. And I could hear a voice clear as day, and it said, "Go outside." So I'm like, okay. So I get up. I walk outside. I have a front porch. It's dark. And I look to my left, and there's the black sky, and there's these two tall pine trees. In between those pine trees is just a black sky, no stars, no nothing. So I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, I'm here. Like, what do you want? And as I'm staring, all of a sudden, it was this. Boop. It was just a dot of light, just bam, there it is. And I'm like, what is that? That's that's amazing. So I'm just staring at it, and it just starts to go up, and then it would go down. It'll go disappear, come back, boom, come back out. It was like it was dancing and talking. I don't know how to describe it. And I'm just like, I mean, I was locked. I was just like I know my jaw was down because I was just so amazed at this. Like, what is this? And then finally it just went away for a good minute. And I was like, in my head, I was like, don't go away. Like, what? Why did you leave? And then all of a sudden, it went boom, and it exploded, and it was like purple, pink, and like just all of these amazing multicolors. And in the center of it was like this huge ball of white crystal, like crystalline, like coming out of the center of it. And it was so breathtakingly beautiful, and it was so strong. Like the energy, even though it was that far from the sky, it felt like it was right here in front of me because I could feel it. I could feel that power. I could feel that energy. And a tear just started to come down my eye. And I thought to myself, I just, I had the most enlightening experience of my entire life. And and then it went away, and it was gone, and I still stood there just just like in awe with this experience. And then I hear an owl, and I'm like, what is that? Like, is that an owl? In Georgia, owls don't exist. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen an owl. And I hear this brr, brr, so I like go down off the porch where I was at, where I had that happen. And there was a tall pine tree in the corner part of my yard, and that owl was sitting on that tree up kind of high, and I can see it. And as I look at it, it's looking at me with its big old eyes, and it's following me as I'm walking, and I'm talking to it, and I'm like, did you see that up there? What was that? What are you doing here? Like, are you part of this connection? Like, what is going on? So I'm standing down at the bottom of this tree, and I'm at this owl up there, and I'm talking, and this thing is like just looking at me like we're having a staring contest. And it flew from that tree down to another tree that was on my other side in the neighbor's yard, right at my face level. So I'm just staring at this bird, and this bird's staring at me, and I'm just like, wow, like I didn't know what to do. So I slowly made my way to this owl, and it let me touch it, and I put my fingers on its claws, and I'm like going like this, like, and I'm looking at this owl, and it's looking down at me with its eyes just like really big. They have like the most amazing big eyes. And I'm still talking to this beautiful owl, and I'm like, you have to be a part of this experience. This is too much of a coincidence. Why? What? And then finally, it just went like that, and I jumped back because it was so big, and the way it flew away was just like an angel. It was like it had the biggest, most beautiful white wings. It's just the way this. I wish I had a video recorder that was coming out of my forehead right now, so everyone could experience what I saw. It was just, oh my God. So when you talk about an awakening, I would consider that one right there.
Okay. How old were you at the time?
24.
Okay.
So I'm 40 now, so that's been a while.
Yeah.
But I've had other things after that, of course. But that one right there itself was just like, and that's why today, like if you see my clothes or you see like things I have today, like I collect white owl stuff. I collect like star bursts, like galaxy prints, like everything about my life today represents that experience. I stand true to it. I stand by it, and I will never forget it. So,
Wow.
yep.
Wow. Okay. And as a result of this, how did that change your life? Like what was your response to this call? It was calling to you and to like to wake up and be part of some of this energy, this universal energy that's changing the earth, is changing the world. Yeah.
I felt that I was not alone. Even if there's 1,000 people in the room, when I mean I'm not alone, I don't mean by like in the flesh. I mean a higher source. I'm not alone. I am looked out for. I am loved, no matter what happens in my life. It's given me strength. It's given me the ability to love myself more, because that when you go through all the hard trials and tribulations in our lives, we give up on ourselves. But you might give up on you, but there's something up there, out there, that will never give up on you. And you have to know that, and you have to believe that, and you have to use that to be a better person, not only just to yourself, but for everyone else around you. My motto is love yourself and everyone around you. And we keep that first, everything else should just fall in place. So I just feel that whole experience, it woke my mind up. It woke up my whole, like my whole everything, my whole being of here relies on that. And I feel like I have a duty now, like a purpose, or like that's my calling, is to do what we're doing now, and that is to wake people up, get people to understand that there is a higher source that is over this planet Earth, and that we need to come together as people and erase all this political crap, all this divide and conquer, and like just come together as one unit on a globe out in the middle of the universe. Because ultimately that's our one house that we all live on. So you can't have anything else. Like another thing is, you can't have anything if you don't have your health. Same goes with planet Earth. You can't have anything if you don't have a basis to put it on. That's my perspective from that experience.
Yeah. It's protecting. Yeah, it's protecting the earth, and that's protecting, respecting the environment, respecting life. Yeah.
It all goes back to that beautiful experience. Like everything around me is like beautiful, like the flowers, the trees, the sunsets, the clouds, And you see beauty in people. For me, it's not a superficial thing, it's a human thing. I'm tired of people looking at someone and basing their life and judgment based on how someone looks. That is old to me. It's like everyone matters. It's not about what you got. It doesn't matter if you've got a Mercedes Benz or you drive a ride on a motorcycle every day. I mean, a bicycle every day. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so sick of
Yeah.
these standards that people have to have these things to be
Yeah.
accepted. Who put that rule into place? I want to know, so we
Yeah.
can like put
Yeah.
them out of their minds.
Yeah. You know the actor Russell Brand
Hmm.
in the UK? Well, going back years ago, going back 7, 8 years, not 10 years, 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years ago at least, and he was saying this. He was basically saying the same thing, and like going into mainstream shows where people were working in mainstream media, and he says, well, your attention is only like what I'm wearing, my clothes and jewelry I'm wearing and stuff like that. It's like all superficial. Why do why are you putting your attention on that? You're not seeing
Hmm.
things that you don't know you're seeing things, and that and so um yeah, he was basically saying the same thing, and it's a five sense reality, like
Right.
like David Icke talks about. He coins it in very interesting terms, the five sense awareness. We're not. If you go beyond the five sense awareness of things, of you and the world, then you realize it's only just consciousness, and
Right.
or like space. Like my first awakening, they were taught. Everybody was saying space, your space, your space, space, space. It's just space, space, space. And at first, like I didn't know what they were talking about. Space, just space, your space, the space, space. But it's with the consciousness, consciousness that yeah, the
Well,
consciousness alone is. So
no,
uh,
it is that because astral
yeah,
projection is something I can do too,
yeah,
and the consciousness is still intact when you
yeah,
do that.
yeah,
And that too, it comes along the lines of what we're talking about. Like being able to astral project is a high gift, and it's an ability that should not be messed with. And a lot of people want to dabble into that without any sort of healing, protection, guidance, and then they find themselves in a whole nother book of worms. So I was able to cut it off because it was happening to me all the time. And so
yeah,
when you talk about consciousness, consciousness plays a huge role in astral projection because when you're in these levels, in these stages of astral,
yeah, yeah,
it can be scary. And you need to know how to be strong enough to discern what you're seeing because entities can come and lie to you, trick you. So you have to be spiritually there. You have to be strong.
yeah,
So your
yeah,
consciousness is like it goes. I think it plays like when you die. I don't believe that all that just goes away. I think you're aware because when I died when I was sepsis, I saw myself outside of myself. I could see them, everything going on. And I ended up in a white tunnel light and I could hear a voice talking to me and I could see like shadow shapes of like figures. Like there were kids there too. They were short, tall, man, woman. You could tell by the shape of their bodies. And the voice said to me, "Not now, not now." And then I woke up in the bed, and then um, a couple of days later, when the doctor came to talk to me, he said to me, "I can't believe you're awake. I can't believe you're fine." He's like, "It's like nothing happened." He goes, "You were the one of the worst cases of sepsis shock I have ever handled in my whole career. Your sugar was 950. You had a fever of 107. You should have something physically wrong with you. You shouldn't even be awake." Like he goes, "I just can't believe it. You're a miracle." So
yeah. Yeah, I've heard of experiences. In fact, now that you mention it, I did have one client like that several years ago who had these health issues, health experiences where the doctors were amazed, like, you shouldn't have survived. Like, how is this happening? You're like, and there was the cancer went into his lung and he was still surviving over it for years, on and on and on. He was having healing experience to heal people remotely from long distances away, and like, but
That's amazing.
his wife and his daughter were like, no, no, don't do it, don't do it. We're scared. They were so scared. They were terrified something was going to happen. Finally, I mean, he couldn't. His body just gave out. He couldn't in
I'm sorry.
2015, unfortunately, or late 2014. Or it was he just passed. So he had to pass. The soul had to pass. Now, normally, the normal human reaction to look at death, the passing of the soul, is a very sad, tragic thing.
Yeah.
But really, is not. Really, it's not the case, because, of course, there's people down here and like spirit guides and whatever
Yes.
who want to keep you here, help you for as long as they can, do as much as they can for you. But if it's like you're really meant to transition and transcend to the higher
Exactly.
plane, to the spirit world,
Exactly.
it will
Yeah.
happen regardless, no matter
Regardless.
how, if it's by either by illness, some kind of a car accident, plane crash, or suicide. The, the soul, it will pass. The soul will pass to a higher. It's meant to a higher plane, because it's meant to work now on a higher plane. The work right here is finished and passed to a higher plane. So about almost a month ago, I lost a very close friend who died in his sleep. He was my age,
Okay.
and he had a heart attack in his sleep. He passed, and it was a shock. It was hard to deal with at first, but he was. It was a blessing that he didn't have to stay here in his mind, your body and
I
his
think that
mind
is.
that was failing him in his mind, and he just whew, relief. It's a release. It's a relief, but he was in such an evolved divine being, a soul, that he had no idea to what extent he was evolved as a soul, because he was so kind
Yeah.
and generous to everybody, so
Yeah.
loving to everybody, strangers. What it's a beautiful, warm, loving, pure soul. And now his work had to continue in the higher realms, or in the
Right.
spirit world.
It doesn't end. It doesn't end there. He's still going to be around
Yeah.
doing exactly what he did here
Yeah.
in the flesh.
Mhm. I had a couple of days ago somebody reach out to me who apparently he knew him,
Hmm.
and he read the condolences I wrote in the website for the funeral parlor, um, and it was very touched, and he wanted to speak with me. And then he connected on my True Life Path Institute Facebook page. It was a page that we had for a long time now, and wanting to see me for a session. He was, and telling me it's desperate, 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 like emergency. 6 messages he sent me and all. And he was, I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't. It was so sudden, I can't deal with it. Blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
um, you know, well, it says you knew him too. Yes, I knew him quite well. We were close. We've known him for a long time. We went to high school together. So since we were very young, I knew him. And but I said, I'm not doing work anymore, conducting one-on-one sessions anymore in
Hmm.
person in my studio, where I did a lot of work and met with people and so forth. Is I was We could do this online with you at a time that's convenient for you, and then right after that, radio silence, communication just shut off. Didn't respond to me.
Yeah.
Didn't even
I'm sorry.
respond to see the message, and I emailed him, but it's like
Hmm.
whew, silence and just
Well, that's
so.
unfortunate. I wonder.
But I mean, it's just shut off communication. But this is the nature of um, people who
Fix
are
it.
emotionally attached to. You're emotionally attached to your own feelings, you're emotionally attached to other people's feelings, and
Yeah,
don't have the knowledge and understanding. With the knowledge and understanding that life goes on,
it does.
the problem is, like, we don't know. People in general don't know how to deal with life and death, because they don't really understand what life and death really is. That life
Right.
is, it's immortal. It continues on after the body. It was before the body. It's
Hmm.
during the body. in the five senses and nervous system, and then it's after the body in the afterlife, in the world beyond, the spiritual world beyond. If you have faith, open up to that and have faith in that. So it goes on, it's eternal. Death
Mm-hmm.
is the transition that allows you to join with in the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And you're consciously
so
aware that you're there. I'm gonna tell you from experience, like it doesn't. You're
yeah,
right. I've seen it, and I've seen it actually twice. The other one was along. I don't really know if I'm going to share that one because I was in a depressive state and I did something stupid, and again I was brought back, but I was in the same light tunnel voice, all that. But the first one I shared was second. So yes, you are aware that you're there. You're not alone, and it is a transition, and it's only, like you said, a matter of time before you go there ultimately. Like that's it, and then you go on to the next chapter. But I think that having those experiences, I understand exactly what you're saying, 100,000%. Um, and I try to use that to help other people whenever they lose someone. Or I'll say, celebrate the life lived. Don't think about the life lost.
yeah,
Celebrate who you were. I personally don't believe in funerals. I think it's another money making thing. That I'm all against all that corporate crap. And I think that for me, ultimately, when I pass, I
mm,
don't want it out. I want a party. I want people to come together, talk about me, think about all the goofy
yeah,
things I
yeah,
did.
yeah,
But people do that. They get stuck in this
yeah. The thing is,
mindset.
because is how we view death as something that's sad and tragic, as the end. We see it because we see it as the end. So you have to make it an event. You have to make it a big, sad, tragic, momentous occasion. You have to take care of the body, put it in a box, put it in the ground, or burn the body, or and put the ashes in an urn, and then somebody will be there, okay, to to take your money for in order that you can do that, and you
I
know,
know it's
um,
ridiculous. I don't. I
uh,
don't.
but I mean, it makes no sense to me that
Me neither.
once the body is dead, it's dead. It's just like skin
Yep.
and bone and
Mhm.
veins, and it's like,
Mhm.
why are you going to spend $3,000 on a box
To go in the ground,
to
no
bury
one
it
sees.
6 feet into the ground when the body is it's going to dis degenerate and disintegrate into ash anyhow eventually, and all you
Yep.
have is the box. So you're burying a box in the ground. The person's not in the ground. The person is like, they don't know where. They're afraid.
Mm.
They're afraid to
Yep.
find out. But and so you just have a box. These
I know.
boxes, these caskets, and some they could be run into the thousands and thousands of dollars. They want, you want the best casket for your loved one. That
I
is just
know.
a, like a bag of bones, burying
Yep.
bones. No, it's not your loved one you're burying. It's just a skeletal uh, image where that was inhabited by the spirit of your loved one. So
Yep. No, I
um,
agree. The Egyptians,
it
the
doesn't make sense.
Egyptians don't like us. I mean, God, I mean, you think about Egyptians, what did they do? They put stuff in their tomb to carry with them into the afterlife. And
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
I
it's
mean,
the
they're
same.
against objects. You're taking expensive material objects and you're burying it. You're putting it into a tomb. So
Yeah,
I mean, you could
I agree.
recycle
I
it.
agree
I
with
mean,
that too.
it would make more sense to recycle it. But
Yeah,
um,
but the
yeah,
reason why I brought that up was because they understand too about like the afterlife and like
yeah,
going on to a different. You're not. It's not just lights out. It's like there's a whole nother place and people to see, things to do. So, um, but yeah, like for me, like when I pass
mm,
away, I don't care if you put whatever. I don't care about all that. I just want to have a celebration and be done with it.
yeah. Certain
Because
cultures do, but certain cultures do celebrate the passing of a soul. the transition of a soul, passing of a soul, and have like parties or like even like a festival, um, or festive about it. So there's a higher, yeah. Well, you should be happy and rejoiceful to know that you are immortal. Life is immortal, and that soul that you knew in the body, as a person, was just transcended somewhere else to a higher place, higher dimension,
Yep.
beyond
I
this world,
agree.
beyond this world, or more, beyond this world.
I agree. I agree. I I'm not in fear of death like I used to be. I feel that someday when my time comes, I look forward to it. Not that I want to rush it along. I'm just saying that like when it comes, I'm okay. And until that time, doing what we're doing, trying to talk to people and be that good person that you need to be while you're here. That's the goal. Is to just treat yourself well and everyone else around you. Love yourself and everyone else around you. And I think that that's why I've been spared so many times is that I'm put here obviously for these reasons. I mean, think about it. If I wasn't meant to be here right now with you and talk to you or anyone else listening, I would have been died. I'd have died. I'd have been gone. And then being told by that spirit to, not now. Well, okay. Well, it makes sense. Like I'm here for a reason. I'm here to fulfill my purposes. And this is one, I guess. So I have a computer that I'm writing everything down. Like I have lucid dreams. I have that as well. I dreamt of Joplin, Missouri, like the day before. Um, I dreamt of 9/11, the week of. I was living at a Marine base at the time. I have dreams of things to come.
Yeah,
So I guess you call that the gift of sight. I don't know, but that can be a blessing and a curse because a lot of times when I have these things and I want to help people, I don't have the means to do it. So then I start feeling guilty or like I'm burdened with this, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So,
Do you remember? Like I was having psychic dreams before I even knew what psychic dreams really were. So I was having these dreams, psychic dreams, without realizing yet. Yeah, you're having psychic dreams,
mhm,
and that this is normal for you. Like I've really without realizing that. Okay, you're supposed to for you know like years like for years since the 90s and because yeah, that's what you were supposed to. So if do you remember in 2002 the Cape Canaveral incident where the rocket ship launched, but it blew up on launch as
yes.
it didn't make it through the Earth's atmosphere. It just
Hmm.
blew up.
Yeah.
Um, well, a few days before, I had a dream that related to that predicted that something was going to go wrong. It was a premonitive
Mm.
dream that this would happen.
Wow.
So I saw it in my dream before it happened. I had the psychic death dreams about my parents, both my parents and my brother, who committed suicide before
I'm
they
sorry.
passed on.
Hmm.
And just in about a period of 5 or 6 months before that, um, and yeah, I knew it was something psychic development, psychic visions, like some psychic
Right.
visions, psychic dreams, um, telling me or warning me, and it was to in their own. The dreams play out in different. It's like a computer. Your dreams are like a computer program.
Yeah.
Like imagine like a computer program in C++. It's like object programming. So like, and if you're a coder or if you study like programming code, like it won't make any sense to you, but it makes sense in terms of that language. It's a higher language. It's like an alien extraterrestrial kind of language in programming. So it's like
Hmm.
objects, like you put this here, put this there, put this there. So what you see in your dreams is like why you're dreaming, it doesn't make any sense. Why is this person here? Why is this person doing this? Why am I saying this? Why am I doing that? But the message is clear. The message always makes sense, always.
Yes.
And it just put like all these objects together, the A, B, C, D, E, everything together, and it makes into one picture that's clear and makes sense. It's lucid, and it is show it in the message. The message
Yep.
is very clear that my parents were gonna pass, um, and then my brother was going to pass, and I had dreams about my brother. I had one dream years after my brother's death. Uh,
Yeah.
he was I was standing on a higher level, overlooking a pool. He was in the pool, so his spirit
Hmm.
was in a pool of water, and the water symbolizes the afterlife, the spirit world, or what some people would say heaven. Heaven, water. In religion, Judeo-Christian religion, water has a very special meaning, very special
Yes.
spiritual meaning. It's related to heaven. It's from the heavens. Water symbolizes heaven. Well, that's why they say if it rains on your wedding day, it will be a blessing if it rains on your wedding day because it's the joining of heaven and earth.
Wow.
See, that's so
That's
beautiful.
beautiful.
But I mean, the message is so beautiful. The intent in the message is so beautiful. So you're blessed. It's a blessing. So I saw water. He was in the water, and he was saying to me that I'm in between. They're trying to decide what to do with me.
Oh, wow.
So he was in between levels, and they say, like the Buddhists say, bardos, or like the bardos, or levels that have
Yeah.
ascension. So he's on a certain. He was waiting to go into a level of ascension as a soul.
That's amazing.
It was
Like you
quite
just said.
clear. It was quite clear to me what what this all meant. And I had successive dreams where he was with me, walking with me, and
Oh,
experiences where he's with me and trying communicating to me somehow. And
that's amazing. I've always said that dreams are a in between, like a kind of like when you make a phone call through your phone. It's like a wire to connect that they can come to us and speak to us.
yeah,
That's beautiful. That's beautiful that you said that.
I had multiple dreams of my parents, my father and mother, and my father and my mother, and my father and mother together, where we were in different. It seemed the house, like it would be like the same house repeating
Hmm.
repetitively in every dream, and different experiences. Most recently, like I went into a house um, with my current partner, and my father was in the house. I met my father in the house and had a conversation with my father in the house. So
That's amazing.
there's still it's these are indications they're still alive. Anyone who's lost anybody, they're not here, but they never died. They're still alive. They're just in that higher dimension. You can access it through your dreams. You can
Yep.
access it through your meditations. You can access it through your own channeling and mediumship and visioning, or just simply by opening your heart. And they are there. They'll come to you.
Yep.
They're still there. They're still very much alive. So that's how I feel with my friend. He's still very much alive within me. That now I have to carry on the work for
Mhm.
him to do. I'm carrying his load in a sense, not that it's heavy a load, but I mean carrying
I get what you mean.
his mission, his work for him, because I know that his spirit lives within me. He's with me, and he has communicated with me through mediumship. Um, and my partner relayed messages to me, and it was just so loving and compassionate. And so it was a great thing. It was such a blessing that he went when he went. Such a blessing. Went
It
so
is.
peacefully in his sleep.
Until my father passed, he died in his sleep.
Yeah.
But that's a beautiful way to go.
Yeah.
So I I'm glad you shared that. That I like hearing other people's experiences and stories because for one, I don't feel so alone, and two, it's nice to meet other people who understand you and have those experiences as well. Um, so I often feel like people like yourself are like family in a way because we have so much in common on these higher levels of spirituality. And I was wondering uh,
Yeah.
why. My question is, how do you explain someone like me versus someone who may not have such levels of consciousness or psychic ability? Like, is there some sort of DNA or is it, like I've always wondered that.
Well, it's very possible you had a DNA reboot, we'll say, um, because everybody has the same DNA. Everybody has the DNA to do what you can do, to have the experiences that you experienced, and to see what you can see, and to realize what you realize. Everybody has the DNA, but it's not. It's like um, disabled in computer terminology. It's like we'll say it's this disabled. It's turned off, um, and it's just like sort of reformatted on the hard drive, reformatted in a place where it's not accessible to these people,
Yeah,
and they need a reboot. They
right.
need a reboot. So you got a reboot more than once, and and
Well,
we're
definitely.
supported energetically by these entities, by these spirits, by these guides or angels, whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter. Um, but it's something that's out while being outside of you. It's still you because it's all one.
I agree.
It's still you. That's a mistake people make. They think they're separate from you. It's something else. You're separate from it. No, you're not.
I believe you're
It's
connected to
still
it.
you. It's been you all the time. So because there's oneness, so we are related by oneness. We are related by a force of oneness, related by a star, maybe a star connection, a spiritual connection, star seeds connection, cosmic connections. But yes, we come from the same. It's the same. It's a source of consciousness of the humanity was seated as a family initially, but the duality took over.
Right?
There were just the it was just they got locked up, and there are different theories you could find, and different people come up with different theories to explain why and how this happened. But the point is that there had to be an evolution. Everything
Exactly.
had to unfold the way it unfolded. There had to be this evolution that we've gone through over these past thousands of years.
Um, the reason it's funny you say that because I posted on the Starseed Awakening about an experience where I was at a library, and I'd never been to this library before in my life. But I'm standing at the door of it, and I get this third eye view of this book on the shelf. It's all the way at the very bottom, at the floor, and it was hidden. It was behind other books, and it was a thin white book. And I went ahead and I walked into that library and walked straight to it, kneeled right down, put my hand right up in there, and I pulled it out and I said, "What is this? The Book of Enoch. Why do I have the Book of Enoch, and why was I guided to this book?" So that's always been a huge question mark in my head. Like there has to be a reason for that. So, and then I started to study about the Book of Enoch and who he
Mm.
was, and the fallen angels, and like the whole thing. And I'm just like, okay, how does that play into as to why I have what I have? Like maybe that's an ancestor or
You were meant to have that book and to read that book. because it's,
Yes.
they're saying, well, here's the truth, pointing to the truth, like, you must know this. So it's one of the volumes of things in your evolution. It was critical, along your path as part of your evolution.
I believe that.
You know, uh, because humanity started out on a very extremely primitive level, but
Yes.
we were visited upon by higher beings who
Yep.
gave us this DNA, who created humanity to the point of evolution that we're at. I don't know. They were the creators, and we're also the co-creators. We're all
Yes.
co-creators with them. So we had a kind of contract, a cosmic contract, to volunteer to work with them, to accept their DNA, to mix with them, to be hybridized
Hmm.
with them. Um,
That's exactly true. Because when I studied
yeah,
that book
yeah,
about that, it's what it talks about.
yeah,
It get into that topic about DNA and evolution and being a part of that line of people, or
yeah.
extraterrestrial line of people, or angels, or all that. And I'm like, okay, well, sorry, go ahead.
They're the
But yeah.
higher being, higher intelligence, um, uh, higher intelligent beings from other worlds that they parented this world in a way. They parented humanity, Earth, in this world. And it's like now, that's why Earth is protected. Earth itself is protected. And we've had many close calls,
Yes.
multiple close calls. And we'll have continue to have these close calls, but they can um, interrupt the destructive wave of energy, go around a frequency to interrupt, to stop us from destroying ourselves, from humanity destroying this world. We have to keep this world as it is. And
I agree.
they, they were parented. And they were what they thought, the people thought at the time were gods. So, I mean, it was left out of the Bible because religion would lose all its power if this was
Mhm.
incorporated as part of the Bible. The church would have no power. Religious authorities would have no power. The idea that there's one God that you have to obey and worship, and you have all these, you know,
And you have to pay money to
sins.
have it.
There's sins. You can't commit these sins, and these rules and control and belief systems and fear and heaven and hell. The whole concept of heaven and hell would be turned on its head, um,
Hmm.
as they're teaching, as they teach through and they indoctrinate people in the church. So they can't. So we can't. They don't. They completely lose their power. They cannot. They they cannot allow it to be incorporated into the religion. They're
That's why I
hiding
don't
it.
follow religion. That's why I stay out of all that,
They're
because
hiding the truth. They're hiding. It's just hiding
yep.
the
And then
truth.
I become the enemy, because the people that raised me, they're Southern Baptists. And every time I would convey, because I'm like, well, wait a minute, don't you read about prophets and people like me? And they're like, and then there's this form of jealousy, or like, well, why you, not me? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, but if you say you believe in all this stuff, but yet the second you meet someone that is outside of your little bubble, you come against me, you abuse me. So I just say, forget it all and go into what we're talking about and stay true to what I know.
Yeah, yeah. But they're part of a different plan, though. They're part of the not so the malevolent alien plan to create these religions, false religions, and false spirituality. So they're part of the false spirituality cult. They've been so
Mhm.
indoctrinated, and if you threaten somebody's beliefs who are so indoctrinated in this cult, like they're pretty insecure, so they're like they're very offended. They're very threatened and they're very offended.
Yep.
So they will come back at you in a very aggressive way. They'll be
Yep.
very offended. They're attacked.
Yep. It's funny because like they'll do that to me, but I'm trying to defend and then whatever. So, but it's what it is. But I'm gonna have to get off. It's been long enough for me. I
Oh,
gotta call my job and talk to human resources about my upcoming surgery and how I'm gonna do all that stuff. She did call me while I was on this call, so I gotta call her back. And I
okay.
appreciate you giving me this opportunity to share what I've been trying to share with so many people. You've been a great experience, and I hope to do this again sometime. I'll stay in touch with me, and if you want me to join again, I'd be more than happy.
Okay. Okay. Great. Speak to only people to people who will only the people who will listen to you, who will be open to hearing, because a lot of people won't hear.
Oh,
You'll
I
find
know
very few people who do hear and want to follow what you're saying. So,
exactly. I know.
but
Like I said before, those that are negative, I just erase it. I don't give them. I don't let anyone rent space in my head or have power over me because I know what I know and I know it to be true, and I will stay to it to the moment I die, and then transcend. So, thank you very
okay. Okay.
much.
Thank you. Are delightful and charming and so sweet. It's great. It's great to know you. It's great to be, like, as
You
you
too.
say, related to you in this family of oneness and love. So, anyway, have a wonderful day,
I will. And
and
you too.
thank you. And we'll be in touch later on.
Yes, sir. Thank you very
Bye bye.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
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 I'm gonna get this
Okay, and that's it, folks. Lovely, charming lady from the South. Born in Florida, grew up in Georgia, went to Phoenix, spent some time in Texas, and came back to Phoenix, Arizona. That was Rachel Martin. I just, you feel her energy, that purity, that kind of angelic glow around her. So I want to thank whoever tuned in, Sitha, for the my man, Sitharman Radhakrishnan, a fellow comedian from Florida. Um, Thank you for the like, for the thumbs up, and I'll give you a thumbs up back to you. And that's it for everybody uh, who tuned in after the live stream, is watching this after the live stream. Thank you very much, and for tuning in, listening. And I'll say to you, have a good day. Stay safe in all ways, and stay warm and stay beautiful. Bye bye.